What's up, everybody? My name's Big Cam and welcome back to another Comically Boston Monday morning weekly nerdy news podcast where we discuss everything that happened in the last week in nerddom. And it was a big old chunky week. We have some future Marvel and DC 2026 release slates. We got a little bit of like a tease on like what the movie slate for 2026 could look like and what, could be our most anticipated movies of 2026 and projects of 2026 for both Marvel and DC. We got a bunch of movie posters, Rotten Tomatoes scores, and a bunch of updates coming from New York Comic-Con, and our boy BD and Phase Hero was there hosting a Night of the Seven Kingdoms panel, Invincible, Marvel television and animation, so we learned a lot more about Marvel and DC's slate, mostly Marvel. We have a bunch of news, so stay towards the end of the show if you want to hear about the Marvel New York Comic-Con updates and the 2026 release slates. But just to jump out into today's news, some solemn news that 79-year-old Diane Keaton passed away just the other day, and I loved Diane Keaton. My mother loved Diane Keaton. Anytime I had ever seen her in anything, she crushed it. She just seemed to have this personality that was just amazing. She's an Oscar winner for her work in Annie Hall, I believe is what it's called, and she directed and starred in it. And she's just an absolute legend of an actress and performer, and passed away the other day at 79. Very sad. So just a little bit of moment of silence and send a prayer to the Keaton family and Diane Keaton. Rest in peace. You're a legend. But moving on into today's news, we have our first poster for a season 2 of One Piece, and it looks like this giant whale, and it says One Piece into the Grand Line, and it says the crew's never coming back. And it looks like their ship here is going to get swallowed by this giant Moby Dick whale. And that will be coming to Netflix, season 2 of the live-action One Piece, coming 2026. Percy Jackson and the Olympians are also coming back for their second season. And at the top it says, Quest for Destiny. And this is the Percy Jackson poster with, I believe that's Walker Scoville as Percy Jackson on the cover there. And Percy Jackson is able to control the water because his father is Poseidon, at least from the movie that I saw, or the books I read when I was a kid. But season 2 for that will be coming December 10th. So that's fun. Second season of that will be one of the only other things streaming in December for TV shows coming out this year. A movie coming out very soon, though, called The Rental Family, and this is a film by Hikari, starring Academy Award winner Brendan Fraser. And this film is coming to theaters November 21st, and it was just in the Toronto Film Festival, BFI London, Tokyo, AFI Fest. So this film's gotten a lot of buzz around the movie festivals, but Brendan Fraser, and looks like he's in like a furry parade, and he's got like cat ears and whiskers drawn on his face, and this little Asian girl has a backpack on the back of him, so I don't know. But that film looks interesting, so comment below if you're going to check that out in theaters, coming November 21st. But a film I'm much more interested in, coming November 14th, only in theaters, Edgar Wright's latest film, The Running Man, starring Glen Powell. Josh Brolin's going to be in there, Michael Cera's going to be in there, Coleman Domingo's going to be in there. And then there was also the second poster that came out with it where Glen Powell's more like running, and it says, from the director of Baby Driver, survive 30 days while the world hunts you down. And I believe this is a remake of an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie called The Running Man, and I started that and never finished it, but like, I don't know if it's going to be that similar, or maybe it's just like the sense of like, you have 30 days and people are hunting you down, and that's like the plot of the movies. But if Arnold is playing the first version and Glen Powell is playing this version, I really like Glen Powell in his work. Edgar Wright, I like his movies as well. Josh Brolin, Coleman Domingo. So like, this movie looks pretty damn good. I might be here for it, So I'm definitely going to be checking that one out in November, but comment below if you will be. Another movie that I saw recently, and this is a poster for a Josh Safdie film starring Timothee Chalamet as Marty Supreme, and it says Dream Big, coming to theaters Christmas, another A24 film. And then there was this image of just like Marty Supreme, and he's like got this like stone face and this creepy mustache. He's got like a ping pong paddle with America next to his face, and then he's smiling in the picture below. So it's like, is he a ping pong guy, and he's fighting in like the Olympics of ping pong or something. But who is Marty Supreme, and like why do I feel like this is gonna be like a serial killer story? Like just from the few images I've seen of this and of Timothee Chalamet in this role, it seems like it's going to be dark. And I mean, the Safdie brothers are doing some crazy shit. I mean, one of the Safdie brothers is working with Timothee Chalamet on Marty Supreme, and the other Safdie brother is doing Smashing Machine with Dwayne Johnson. I don't know, that looks crazy too. Comment below if you know anything about Marty Supreme though. Another new poster that just came out the other day that I saw with Chris Pratt and Rebecca Ferguson in this new movie called Mercy, coming to theaters January 23rd, filmed for IMAX. It says time left 90 minutes maybe, and then it says guilty 97.5%. What is he taking, like a lie detector test or something? He's getting tortured, so Rebecca Ferguson's character needs to have mercy on him? I don't know. But at the top it says, the future of the criminal justice is artificial intelligence. Ooh, so maybe it's going to be this guy that gets wrongfully arrested and needs to ask mercy from his AI overlords. I don't know. I don't like that at all. The fact that AI is going to be like this powerful threat in this movie, but Rebecca Ferguson, I absolutely love. Chris Pratt's great as well. So them two teaming up for this film, it's probably going to be good. I'll probably check that out, maybe when it comes to streaming. Now, another movie, I never checked out the first one, but I heard people are like cult followings for Five Nights at Freddy's. So another Blumhouse production for Five Nights at Freddy's 2 will be coming to theaters December 5th. So for you creeps and weirdos out there, I'm sure you'll be happy about that one. Another sequel that I did see the first one for just got announced the other day, and the Minecraft Movie 2 will be coming out, and that's coming to theaters July 23rd, 2027. I can't believe that. That's insane. But, you know, I'm sure Jack Black and Momoa will be back, but they're probably just busy all of 2026. So they're like, yeah, we'll be back, but give us a call in 2027. We'll do that. Whew. Another sequel to the Family Plan, which came out, I believe, last year with Mark Wahlberg and Michelle Monaghan. And this is like, you know, they were like in Vegas or something. This looks like they're in London maybe, and it's going to be like more of a winter, maybe snowy movie. Maybe Christmas set. But The Family Plan 2 is going to be coming to Apple TV Plus November 21st. Now, a couple of movies that have some Rotten Tomatoes scores that they just debuted the other day, and Tron Ares just came out in theaters over the last weekend, and it had a lower debuted box office return than Morbius. So maybe people are losing the hype on old Jared Leto there, but for me, Morbius was more of a Sony problem than a Jared Leto problem, but he still wasn't that great. But Tron Ares, this poster here looks pretty sick with this light bike going up the side of the building. But it originally debuted its Rotten Tomatoes score with 57% with 21 critic reviews. And then the last time I looked, it is currently sitting at a 56% critic score with 156 reviews and an 85% audience score. So, you know, about half of the critics are not liking this. Definitely not certified fresh. It's more certified rotten with a 56% critic score with 152 critic reviews, and it's still sitting at 56. That means for critics wise, they damn near either hated it or they loved it. You know, like they sat right in the middle. That's not very good. Audiences seem to be liking it a little bit more, sitting at an 85% audience score. But I don't know, man. I feel like this is the type of film you have to go to it for yourself and check it out. But, you know, I hate to say this as somebody that hasn't seen it, but from what I've heard, it's the type of film where the visuals are pretty good, but the story and characters suck. So to me, like, sure, you can watch a movie and just be like, wow, that looked great, and I feel like I wasted 2 hours, but it looked pretty good. It was pretty to look at, you know, but like, that's not what you should be watching a movie for. Like, the visuals and everything around the movie should enhance the story. Like, you shouldn't be coming up, like some Marvel movies do this, where they come up with the fight and like the action sequence before the story. So it's like, okay, now we need to work that fight in that action sequence into the story, and it's like, sure, it helps the visual effects artists have more time to be able to work on that thing because they've had it in pre-production for so long, but you shouldn't do that. You should only be developing stuff that has story beats to it, you know, like Maybe that's why Superman worked so well, because it didn't feel like Superman was doing any action in that movie just to look cool. He was doing it to project a story that James Gunn had a clear vision going forward with. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Tron Ares just maybe didn't have that vision. Maybe when it comes out of the theaters, I'll check it out. But if you were somebody that went and saw Tron Ares, let me know what your thoughts were down below. Was it any good? Was Jared Leto terrible? I don't know. Let me know. Now, a movie that at first, just by looking at this poster, I was like, yeah, I'll maybe see it on streaming. But now, the more and more I've found out about Roofman, starring Channing Tatum, Kirsten Dunst, Lakeith Stanfield, Juno Temple, Peter Dinklage. Lakeith Stanfield's in that? I haven't seen him or Juno Temple in any of the trailers for this, but Peter Dinklage is in there as well with those other guys. So it seems to have a pretty decent cast, and Channing Tatum is the Roofman, which, based on an actual events and terrible decisions, was like this criminal. Got put in prison for robbing a McDonald's from sneaking through the roofs of McDonald's, and he apparently robbed 45 of them, but they only ever caught him for robbing one, and they gave him 45 years in prison, which, you know, they threw the book at him. And they like knew he was guilty, but they didn't have the proof he was guilty, and, you know, they still sentenced him to 45 years. Some people get less than that for murder, you know what I mean? So this guy's still in prison, but Channing Tatum's been talking to him, and it seems like he's playing this guy, and they gave him 45 years, and they wouldn't give him a second chance at life. So he decided to break out, and then, you know, instead of running for his life and getting as far away as possible and them hunting him down, he hid in a Toys R Us. So interestingly enough, this guy's like living his life in a Toys R Us, and then he ends up falling in love with Kirsten Dunst's character, and then that's how he ends up getting caught, and now he's back in prison. But like, an interesting story enough, and Channing Tatum is hilarious. So like, I think this movie's going to be a mix of funny, it's going to have heart, but it's also going to be like a good story, and it seems pretty damn good. In the Rotten Tomatoes score, it debuted with an 84% critic score with 103 critic reviews and an 88% Rotten Tomatoes audience score. So sitting in the 80% certified fresh for a 2-hour and 6-minute comedy rated R movie, I think this looks awesome, and I can't wait to check this out. I probably won't go to theaters for it, but when it comes out on streaming, I will 100% be checking out Roofman. Now, another movie that just debuted the other day, or will be coming out very soon, is The Black Phone 2. And this is another Blumhouse production, and probably an A24 horror movie, but Ethan Hawke was so good in the first Black Phone movie that they ended up making a second one, and it says dead is just a word, and this is coming to theaters October 17th, so this will be out this Friday. And it looks like this second movie is going to be very icy, as this like devil mask is all iced out in the snow, and this other poster has Ethan Hawke's character with like these devil eyes and like this porta potty in the middle of this frozen lake. And it says discover the secret behind the mask. Ooh, so I might need to go check out the first one for this. Anybody seen The Black Phone? Is it any good, or is it too scary for someone like me? Is it too, please let me know. If it's too scary, I will avoid it, but if it's good scary, I'll check it out. But 80% debut Rotten Tomato critic score with 25 reviews, and that's probably just from people that saw early screeners and something like that. But very curious to see this Friday what this score will change into, if, you know, audiences really like it, or maybe more critics see it and they really like it. But another horror movie, just under 2 hours, rated R, coming to theaters October 17th. Go check it out. Now, something more up my alley that does seem to be very interesting and has this really interesting cast, and I believe this is a stand-up comedy movie directed by Bradley Cooper, but also going to be starring Bradley Cooper, but not as like the main guy, where it seems to be starring Will Arnett and Laura Dern, and I really like the both of them. Would never have pictured them together, but I really like the two of them together. And then other people just on the poster that the cast lists is Andra Day and Bradley Cooper. But I know of like stand-up comics that there's like a bunch of them that said that they were in this, that they couldn't talk about it and stuff like that. So I don't know, stand-up comedy movie coming to theaters in December, Will Arnett, Laura Dern, that alone's interesting to me. But then directed by Bradley Cooper. He's been doing more things behind the camera. His last thing he did was like Maestro, which was also pretty damn good, and he starred and directed in that. So like, maybe he's taken a little bit less of a load as like a starring actor, but more as like a director for this. but also probably going to be like a drama, but like a comedy, because it's set, like, is this thing on? Like, is that, like, talking about the mic? Is this thing on? Hello? Hello? You know, like, comment below if you're going to check that movie out in December. But its early ratings for Rotten Tomatoes for this 2 hour and 4 minute rated R comedy coming December 19th is 93% Rotten Tomatoes critic score with 14 critic reviews. So early reactions from critics, the score is pretty damn good. Comment below if you're going to go check out Is This Thing On in December. But something coming up here in November that I am 100% ecstatic for and will be checking out is Predator Badlands, and we have a couple new posters for it here. A 4DX, Feel It in 4DX poster where he's like hanging on for dear life with her on his back as they're like right over the jaws of this giant creature. Coming to theaters November 7th. Oh, I can't wait, dude. I can't wait. Now you see this other picture, Screen X picture, where Deck has his mask on and a red light's glowing in front of them and she's over his shoulder. A Real D 3D poster where they're on maybe that most dangerous planet and half of Elle Fanning is taped or strapped to the back of Deck. I can't wait for this, man. It looks so good. Another IMAX poster where that creature that they were just hanging over, he's standing on the IMAX and it says, "The hunt begins in IMAX." And oh, that jaws of life over that character. I don't think the jaws of this creature are accurate to what it's actually going to look like in the movie. But for a movie poster, that thing looks ginormous. And I mean, we've seen a pretty big creature that he goes up against in the film. But you're telling me if this is the real creature, there's an even larger one? You know, like, oh no. But then this final poster here for Predator Badlands, a Fandango poster that I actually really like. You can see the multiple suns for this planet in the background. You can see her strapped to his back. He's got his mask on. The tendrils are going all over the place. He's got a sword in one hand. Yeah, very cool, man. Very cool. Coming to theaters November 7th from the director of Prey, Predator Badlands, baby. And there's already trailer reactions for that movie out on the channel, so go check those out if you haven't. But I cannot wait. Predator Badlands looks sick, and from the last things that Dan Trachtenberg has done, that looks like it's going to be awesome. But speaking of stuff that's probably going to be awesome, the Super Mario Bros. Movie got announced that they're having their sequel be Super Mario Bros. Galaxy, or Super Mario Galaxy movie. And there's also a Donkey Kong movie who was voiced by Seth Rogen. And there is in the works at Universal a Donkey Kong film. So I don't know about y'all, I really loved the Mario movie. I think the Super Mario Galaxy movie is probably going to be great as well. And if they do a Donkey Kong movie with Seth Rogen starring as it, it's probably going to be hilarious. And it's probably going to be really good. And Donkey Kong Country should just be more of a thing in general. Like DK Country, come on. But speaking about animation, other animation projects that I really liked, the original movie, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, with also Seth Rogen, was really good and came out I think a year or two ago, and I don't think enough people saw it because maybe the animation style looked a little too kiddie, which I can understand, but it was interesting and unique, and it was really good style, the first one. And this image, you know, just dropped in its first look at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Chrome Alone 2, Lost in New Jersey, which is, I think, a rip on Home Alone 2, Lost in New York as a title. And so we have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Chrome Alone 2, Lost in New Jersey is going to be the title for their next film. And it looks like they're in New York wearing like this, you know, New York street attire where only one of them, it looks like a actual adult. The rest of them look like hoodlums from the streets, you know, and I think that's Leo over there with like a scarf and like an actual dress hoodie jacket, you know what I mean? Like the rest of them are just with hoodies and beanie caps on, and like they're characters. The kids that voiced those TMNT turtles in the first movie were great, so I'm probably going to check out the second one. But speaking of things I will be checking out, the HBO Harry Potter series has been filming, and we do know that the kids are, you know, cast and whatnot, but our first looks at John Lithgow as Dumbledore, and I think his look is pretty good. The ZZ Top beard looks pretty good. The attire and the swag of him I thought would have been different, but I also expected maybe a hat And I don't expect to see Dumbledore just on a beach on a sunny day. You know, most of the time when I picture Dumbledore, it's either in a dark castle or a dark room or dark clouds, or, you know, like I don't picture Dumbledore with the sun for some reason. I don't know why, what that says about the Dumbledores from our past. Maybe I'm just picturing of like Half-Blood Prince Dumbledore, where he's like, Harry, don't make me drink it, Harry. You know, and he's like fucking with the fire. Like, come on, like, great movies. But John Lithgow as Dumbledore looks pretty damn good. It looks like he's like reading this, like, his lines from this cue card, and I believe it's like his spell that he's doing, and it's like some Latin. So don't be like, John Lithgow needs a cue card. No, no, no. John Lithgow needs a cue card for Latin. He doesn't need a cue card for normal shit. He's a professional actor. He remembers his lines. I guarantee it. That's just some tough line that he needs to get right. But it looks like these guys, you know, are filming on some beach somewhere and getting on through the first book of Harry Potter, and I think they're going to do it in like 10 episodes for HBO Max. That should be coming out probably sometime next year, I think. Maybe 2026, maybe 2027, depending on how fast they film. But it should only be, you know, what's the first one? Philosopher's Stone in the UK, Sorcerer's Stone over here. So, you know, none of the Chamber of Secrets stuff will happen in this first season. So honestly, it's not going to be till season 3 until the show gets really good. You know what I mean? Like, the first 2 movies are good, but the third movie, Prisoner of Azkaban, when that shit fucking hits the fucking fan, bruh, like, that's when, like, the kid actors are no longer kids, they're starting to be young adults, and they're fully committed to being these characters in the Harry Potter universe, you know what I mean? Like, there is no learning the ropes like they are in the first 2 movies. By the third movie, they're like trying to make decisions for their characters. They're fully Ron, Hermione, and Harry, you know what I mean? Like, there is no getting into it anymore. Like, by the third movie, they really had a grasp for those characters, and they got darker and had the werewolves and Sirius Black, you know, like that. But from the third movie on is when I fully invested myself. And then the 5th movie is the worst one because of that pink bitch. Not even because of the movie, just because of that pink bitch. If you know, you know. But moving on from Harry Potter. John Lithgow does look great as Dumbledore though, but Sigourney Weaver, my girl. And just the other day, Variety confirmed that Sigourney Weaver met with Alien Studio execs about bringing Ripley back. And she teased a quite extraordinary idea for where the character could have been during this time. So I wanted them to do a Alien Romulus sequel and have that same director come back, but it seems that director doesn't want to come back. So a new director will be stepping into this new story. And if Sigourney Weaver wants to come back as fucking Ripley, let the bitch come back. I mean, you guys did her so dirty with Ripley and what happened in Alien 3 and 4 and Resurrections. Absolutely awful. Sigourney Weaver, though, absolutely phenomenal. And if she wants to come back as Ripley and has an idea and, like, you guys want to make it something set back in the past when, like, Alien and, like, Alien Romulus, Alien Earth is set, tie it back into Alien and Predator, I wouldn't be mad. Let it happen. Let it do its thing. If you want to keep them separate and not do Alien vs. Predator, that's also cool, but we need, now that Alien Romulus came out, Predator Badlands is coming out, and they're both kind of back at the peak for their franchises being great films and great shows and great stuff going on for either franchise. If they bring Sigourney Weaver back, that would be a huge piece of the puzzle for the Alien franchise. And then imagine, like, an animated Predator Killer of Killers where they're at the very, very end, they want to bring back Dutch, Arnold Schwarzenegger's character. They want to bring back Mike, I think is his character's name, Danny Glover. They want to bring back Nanu, or whatever her name was, from Prey. You know what I mean? Like, they want to bring back these characters that beat the Predators. What if Sigourney Weaver's character was one of those people that beat a Predator, but it beat a Xenomorph? So now she's also one of these people that they consider a Predator killer, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I have a feeling they might be doing something like that and trying to tie the 2 franchises back together. If they don't, not the biggest deal, as long as they're both putting out great projects. But this got me excited and got my brain brainstorming in ways that I haven't in a while. So Sigourney Weaver, please come back as Ripley. Alien execs, don't fuck that up. Don't fumble the bag. If you got a star like Sigourney Weaver that wants to come back to a franchise after becoming a star like Ripley, you gotta bring her back. Come on. And just the last piece of news before we get into the Marvel New York Comic Con news. Just the other day I saw that the Ahsoka Season 2 had just wrapped filming. So Ahsoka Season 2 probably going to be coming sometime in 2026, maybe even later. I know we have Mandalorian and Grogu coming 2026 in May. So maybe August time Ahsoka Season 2 comes. Have a summer of Star Wars going from May into June into August with Ahsoka. That would be kind of cool. But jumping into some of that Marvel news, David Malchian, who many of us know as Polka Dot Man from the Suicide Squad or Kurt from the Ant-Man movies, he said recently somewhere that he wants to be Morbius in the MCU. And I like this casting far more than Jared Leto. So Marvel, I know he's already played a couple of other characters in the MCU. He hasn't had long hair in Vampire Fangs in like, I don't know. I would be much more compelled and interested in a David Malchian vampire Morbius than Jared Leto. You know what I mean? Like, even just his name saying it, I'm like, ugh, give me a throw-up taste in my mouth. But David Malchian, tough name to say, but would be sick as Morbius. And just last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago now at this point, Marvel Zombies had came out, and a full breakdown for that is now out on the channel. So go check out my breakdown and reaction to the Marvel Zombies. And if you haven't seen it, I mean, go check it out. It's a pretty good, 4-part, just devastating zombie story that happens to star our Marvel heroes. And this is obviously a Captain America zombie, Captain America Marvel Zombies poster. So yeah, devastating stuff there. Poor Cap. But speaking of Marvel animation, at New York Comic Con they had this logo up where it's like a Marvel animation Marvel logo, where in the Marvel letters it looks like we got your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man over there in the M, with like a couple of different Spider-Man, maybe a Carnage, maybe a Venom coming out of that. That looks creepy. And then it looks like maybe Marvel Zombies or like acid is affecting Deadpool, Punisher, Wolverine, and Storm in the A there. What's happening in that? Maybe that has to do with X-Men 97. And then in the R, it looks like we have Kamala Khan, Daredevil creeping into like the V. Looks like maybe in the bottom of the R is like a Age of Apocalypse Wolverine. In the V, it looks like the brown suit Wolverine, and right above him, Jeff. So that could be like Marvel Zombies with the Daredevil and the V there as well. Looks like there's also like, maybe some Capcom versus Marvel Avengers, arcade style characters with like the Wolverine and the Storm there. And then into the E, it looks like we got Doctor Strange, Luke Cage, maybe Jessica Jones with some Punisher and Daredevil in the L. So maybe that's teasing Daredevil Born Again Season 2, maybe the Punisher franchise, you know what I mean? Like there's supposed to be a Punisher special presentation coming. We'll talk more about that in a second. But we know for sure coming next year from what they announced at New York Comic Con, X-Men 97 Season 2 will be coming, and I think Season 3 is already in the works. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 2 is also going to be coming, and I believe Season 3 and maybe even 4 and 5 for that are also in the works. So people really liked Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man when that came out. I know me and my roommate really liked the story going on there. Lonnie Lincoln, poor bastard, he got done dirty. But then Brad Winderbaum, and on stage at the Marvel Animation Marvel Television panel hosted by Brandon Davis, he announced and confirmed that Vision Quest is officially coming. And we had rumored about it, but I don't know if it had been officially confirmed that that is coming and that there's going to be a bunch of people in that, and that's going to be like continuing on the WandaVision Agatha All Along storyline. And it's going to be like these trilogy of shows where we go from WandaVision, Agatha All Along to Vision Quest, and we're going to continue on Billy and Tommy. Yeah, so I think it's Billy, William Kaplan, Wiccan, from Agatha All Along. Billy is going to be going with Ghost Agatha at the end of that show to go find White Vision and his brother Tommy. And we saw in Agatha All Along that like Billy and Agatha had like this vision that Tommy was like drowning or something. So I think Vision Quest is going to be a little bit of like continuing Agatha All Along storyline with Billy and then continuing White Vision storyline from WandaVision. So it's going to be like Vision's quest to find his family again. Maybe this show will be bringing Wanda back into the MCU because she's like dead at the current moment, but like I don't believe that for a second either. So maybe between White Vision and her 2 kids and Ghost Agatha, they'll be able to bring Wanda back to life type shit. But we also learned from Vision Quest that Tommy / Speed, Tommy Maximoff, Billy's brother, who will be Speed, kind of like Wanda in Pietro's, he was like Quicksilver. Tommy has the speed powers, which we saw from the young boys in WandaVision. So now grown up, just like in Agatha All Along, where Billy was grown up. We're going to get a grown-up Tommy in Vision Quest, and this is going to be played by, I think, a UK-based actor named Ruid Malak. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. That if you guys looked at the spelling of that name, it is a tough fucking name. But other details we learned from Vision Quest. White Vision has all of his memories from the original Vision, but struggles to connect with the emotion from those memories. Ultron, Friday, Edith, Dummy, and Jarvis all appear and have human forms. So all of the AIs from Tony Stark's life are going to have human forms in this show, and I heard James Spader will be coming back to voice like the human form of Ultron and like, or be the human form of Ultron, which is like, what? Ultron, Friday, Edith, Dummy, Jarvis are all back in human form? What is the show about? Is it going to be like flashbacks in his brain, or are they going to be real people he sees? Like, what? Whoa. And apparently this is releasing in 2026, so I don't know what this show has to offer, but I'm fascinated already. And tomorrow there will be a trailer, or teaser trailer really, that came out for Wonder Man. And tomorrow there will be a breakdown for this teaser trailer on the channel. But the poster that came out here, it says The Hollywood Reporter, Hollywood experiencing superhero fatigue. Is it time to hang up the capes? And it's got like a blanked out superhero on the front of this cover. And I think that's going to be the whole point, is like Simon Williams, played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen, wants to play Wonder Man in this movie that they're making about superheroes, and then as he gets cast as this character, maybe he gets superpowers of his own, but those superpowers aren't what he expects, and they're like darker and crazier than he ever could imagine, and Wonder Man ends up being this crazy, like almost anti-hero type of guy. I don't know anything other than this one image from his comics, you know what I mean? I know that Simon Williams and Wanda have like a little thing in the comics in one comic somewhere, but like, what is the deal with this character? And like, we were supposed to get Wonder Man in December, but they pushed it so it won't compete with Christmas and the Christmas movies and probably Stranger Things. So we will be getting Wonder Man in January. And then Daredevil Born Again Season 2 will probably be coming out in March, just like Season 1 came out this year in March. But they released this image of Charlie Cox in the Daredevil suit in this season. Just from the red light, it doesn't look like it's that different a suit. But this season's suit is going to be an all-black Daredevil suit. And you can see on his chest that it has the red double D Daredevil logo. Finally! It took him 3 seasons of a Netflix show and 1 of a Marvel television show. So now on to the 5th season he's played Daredevil. He's finally getting the Daredevil logo on the chest. Wow. I can't wait for this. I am a huge Daredevil fan. I can't wait for my Hot Toys Daredevil figures to come out. But you already know as soon as Season 2 drops, they're going to be coming out with a black suited Daredevil. And I might need to grab that as well. Like, as soon as I see it, I know I'm going to be like, fuck me, pay. You know, like, take my money. But Brad Winderbaum, at the same Marvel television panel with Brandon Davis, confirmed that Foggy will be in Season 2, but he didn't say if it will be flashbacks or himself actually in the season. I'm thinking Foggy is not dead. I said it all Season 1, he's not dead, and maybe he's not, maybe he is, maybe it's flashbacks, but either way, Eldon Henson will be returning in Season 2 as Foggy. But also coming in Daredevil Born Again Season 2, the return of Jessica Jones, played by Kristen Ritter, and they were both on stage at New York Comic Con, and they looked very happy to be together. And she and Charlie were both in the Defenders series, which also kind of has to do with the Netflix Daredevil. I think it went Netflix Daredevil Season 1 and 2, Jessica Jones Season 1, Luke Cage Season 1, and Iron Fist Season 1, and then they all met in the Defenders, and then they each had seasons after that, I believe. But as far as what we know right now, Jessica Jones will be back for Season 2, but Luke Cage might have been around New York Comic Con, and maybe there was rumors that Iron Fist as well. So maybe the Defenders are reuniting to defend New York in Daredevil Born Again Season 2. That could be very interesting. Maybe it's just Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, no Iron Fist. Maybe it's all four of them. Comment below if you would want to see the Defenders back in Daredevil Born Again. That could be interesting, going up against Fisk in trying to take back New York. I could see it. But, you know, as far as what we learned from that panel, Wonder Man coming January 27, 2026. Daredevil coming March 2026. X-Men 97 coming summer of 2026. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man fall of 2026, and Vision Quest fall of 2026. So I'm guessing some of those dates might change, but there's also this like timeline we have here, because that's just Marvel Television. So now including some of the movies and other things we know, Wonder Man coming in January of 2026, and then Daredevil probably March of 2026, I have to guess. We do know that there's a Punisher special presentation. It does say spring 2026. I don't see that coming in spring. I picture Wonder Man, Daredevil being January, March. That will be the first 3 months of the year. Then July, Spider-Man Brand New Day will come out. Hopefully, Daredevil Born Again, Spider-Man Brand New Day will both, lead into each other. Maybe even have Punisher and Daredevil in Spider-Man Brand New Day. That would be awesome. And then, the events of Spider-Man Brand New Day could lead into Avengers Doomsday, which would be May 7th of 2027, which I thought that had gotten moved to December of 2026. So I think that date might be wrong. So I have another list here that New Rockstars put out of their 2026 in forward release date. So Wonder Man, January 2026, Daredevil Born Again in March 2026, July 31st, 2026, we have Brand New Day. I'm thinking August for X-Men 97. We have a little summer of X-Men 97. Maybe like a October, November for a Punisher special presentation that would come off of Daredevil Born Again in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Vision Quest maybe would be like December, maybe that Halloween, October spot, if they don't do the Punisher special presentation in 2026, which would then lead us into December 18th of 2026, Avengers Doomsday. So here's the December date that I thought they had moved to. And then I think Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man animated series of Season 2 for that comes out early 2027, which would then lead us with really nothing else for 2027 unless Punisher special presentation gets put somewhere in 2027. But then that would lead us pretty much nothing in between Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars between 2026 and 2027. But you would have to think that 2027, some point, there's a Blade movie, maybe Black Panther 3, maybe Doctor Strange 3, Shang-Chi 2, maybe there's a X-Men movie with Marvel being in the works for 2028. Maybe February, May, November of 2028. I picture at least one of those movies, maybe Blade, maybe X-Men, coming before Avengers Doomsday, or in between Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. But I don't know, maybe we do end up Avengers Doomsday in December of next year. So we're pretty much a year and 2 months out from Avengers Doomsday. And then they go a full year between Marvel movies, and they do like kind of how they did Deadpool and Wolverine being the only Marvel Studios movie to come out that year. Maybe that's what their plan is, and maybe 2027 will have, you know, some Sony Beyond the Spider-Verse movie will come out, so that's 2, you know, and then maybe they have Punisher special presentation, maybe they have a few other things, maybe some animated projects, maybe some other TV shows that are in the works, I don't know. But I would almost have to think that Blade, Doctor Strange 3, maybe Thor 5, X-Men, Black Panther 3, Shang-Chi 2, like those are all films that we definitely need, but also things like Moon Knight Season 2, maybe a Midnight Suns, you know, like, I don't know, maybe a Doctor Strange 3, a Midnight Suns, and a Blade can all get mixed into a Blade movie, or maybe Blade comes off of a Blade movie and goes into Midnight Suns, or maybe like Doctor Strange 3, Blade, Moon Knight Season 2 all lead to a Midnight Suns. I don't know. It's so crazy that the stuff that, you know, to speculate and where my mind's going at the current moment, you know what I mean? Like, it's just blowing my mind to think about, you know, all the things that we didn't know about just a week or so ago, and now we're like speculating 2026 and what's going on further. You know, like we haven't really had that in a long time, you know, like I'm still waiting for like the San Diego Comic-Con panel for Kevin Feige to come out and give us another 10-year run of like where we're going to be going. And I think they might not ever do that again just because of how it went the first time, and them having to change and retitle stuff, and some stuff gets canceled, some stuff doesn't, you know, and then it creates all this uproar. Where if they wait until the last possible moment and then announce that, like, then they're announcing in October that Wonder Man is officially coming in January. So just 3 months before, or just 2 months before that show was originally supposed to drop in December, they're announcing that it's coming out in 3 months. Like, what happened to the days when we used to get trailers a year before something came out? Now it seems like we're getting trailers weeks sometimes before the movie comes out. You know, not even months, a couple of weeks before the movie comes out. It's like, hey, here's a trailer, that movie's going to be here in a couple weeks, get excited. You know, they're trying to capture your excitement and your attention and keep it right now, rather than like, hey, here's a trailer, get excited for something a year from now. Maybe you forget it, maybe you don't. But for people like me, we just stay excited for a year and just patiently wait for that year to come up, and then all of a sudden it's here and you're like, whoa, you know, like anytime I've ever been like, oh my god, that movie's 2 years out, I can't wait 2 years, and then all of a sudden 2 years goes by and then I'm sitting in theaters watching it, I'm like, I can't believe this is already here, wow, you know, like. Just to wrap up today's show, we're going to end with some DC news. But as far as Marvel 2025, how did you enjoy the projects that came out? For me, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, we really enjoyed Captain America Brave New World. I thought Red Hulk was sick. Daredevil Born Again, I can't wait for season 2. Thunderbolts I thought was great. Fantastic Four First Steps, I wanted more. Ironheart I thought was great. I can't wait to see more of you know, Mephisto and her and what the deal is with that. Eyes of Wakanda was pretty good. I'm not the best. Probably my least favorite on this entire list. And then Marvel Zombies was the most recent, and it was like an R-rated TVMA animated violent zombie thing, but it's starring our Marvel heroes. I actually was really into that. But, you know, comment below, what was your favorite Marvel project of 2025? And what are you most excited for from Marvel coming in 2026 or further? But just to finish out today's show with some DC stuff, just announced the other day, Batman Nightfall, and it apparently is going to be like a Batman Bane-centric story, and it says that it will be a 4-part animated film, and the first part will release in 2026, and the synopsis for this reads, when the mysterious behemoth known only as Bane frees Batman's entire rogues gallery from Arkham Asylum, the Caped Crusader is pushed to his mental and physical breaking point. Wow. So Bane releases not just some, the entire rogues gallery of Batman villains that he had spent years putting in Arkham. Bane releases everybody out of Arkham, and then it seems like it might be just one night, or, you know, the Batman the Dark Knight might fall amongst the physical breaking and mental breaking points that this is going to put him against, you know, like, because just imagine this movie It's going to be Bane, Joker, Riddler, everybody. All of the Rogues Gallery escaped in this 4-part movie. So it's going to be 1 part, 2 part, 3, 4-part animated feature film called Batman Nightfall. I mean, I'm not so into animation, but this sounds sick. And if this is an animated feature DC film, I'm into it. Now, James Gunn in Peacemaker Season 2 had just wrapped last week as well in this Peacemaker Season 2 finale breakdown, and all of the breakdowns for Season 2 are currently up on the channel, so go check those out if you haven't. But James Gunn, when asked about Peacemaker's fate and will it be addressed in Man of Tomorrow, James Gunn said, no, but people should expect that the way that the government in the military and Rick Flag and everybody are working together, and they're created a probably illegal prison for metahumans on another dimension, is going to be part of the DC stories going forward. And not just a tertiary, oh, this is Arkham. It's a part of the stories. There's an escalating war, obviously, that's going on between the governments and metahumans, and this is a part of it. So, I don't know, he's keeping it vague, but he's also, like, saying, you know, like, hey, Peacemaker probably won't be directly in Man of Tomorrow. And, like, he also said that he won't be doing a Peacemaker Season 3 right away. So, for me, if it's not a Peacemaker Season 3 that he's already planning for this to show up in, does this have something to do with Lanterns or Supergirl or Man of Tomorrow? And, like, does he ever just not address it? You know what I mean? And, like, he just, in Man of Tomorrow, say Superman gets arrested and put on Salvation, where Peacemaker's at, and just kind of like, what are we doing here? Oh God, I'm trapped on this planet alone. There's monsters and shit. And then all of a sudden, John Cena comes out of the trees riding a T-Rex with a ripped shirt. Like, what took you motherfuckers so long? I've been here for months, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen for the future fate of Peacemaker. And from the way he's saying it, I don't think he will be in Man of Tomorrow. But I think Flag working with Lex Luthor and Argus working with Lex Luthor is going to be a problem in the future with other different government organizations, the military, you know, and then they're also going to be up against metahumans in general. It's like metahumans versus normies, you know, like, I don't know. I really don't know. There's also Amanda Waller's out there somewhere that we haven't seen, so she could be a big part in this, causing problems for the metahumans. Who knows? But Man of Tomorrow does seem like it's going to be more of a Superman 2, but also he said that it's not. It's going to be just as much a Lex Luthor story as it is Superman. And he's also said that Superman and Lex are going to have to work together to defeat a much greater threat. So everyone assumed that that was Brainiac, or, you know, from Salvation run or whatever he's setting up with the end of Peacemaker, maybe it's Darkseid, but also, like, maybe it's not at all, you know. I don't know. James Gunn, I'm going to watch whatever you do next, but I'm confused at the current moment. I don't understand the end of Peacemaker Season 2 finale. I thought I did, but maybe I don't. I don't know. Peacemaker, Man of Tomorrow, I'm fascinated for whatever's coming next, but as far as what we know coming for DCU, early 2026 we have Lanterns TV show coming to HBO as an HBO series. Supergirl will be coming to theaters June 26th, and Clayface will be coming in September, and that's currently filming right now. So Lanterns is up next for the DCU. I mean, Kyle Chandler, Aaron Pierre as Jon Stewart, and Hal Jordan, I'm fascinated to see. And this will be the first of the DCU that isn't written by James Gunn. You know what I mean? So this will be the first project that James Gunn isn't directly involved with in the DCU, and I'm fascinated. I think the showrunners are going to be really good on this, and it's crazy because the only thing we really know about this show is that they're going to be out in the middle of nowhere investigating some murder. So maybe it's like some alien creatures out in the middle of nowhere, and all of a sudden this, like, detective series starts becoming, you know, cosmic, and they have to start using their lantern powers to solve this mystery murder that has to do with the greater story at hand here. Or maybe, you know, they find the little alien creature that Chris and his dad killed in Peacemaker Season 2. I don't know. Like, I think this is going to be connected to Man of Tomorrow much more than we think, but also, like, it might stand on its own as this genuinely interesting show, and I'm very excited to see Lanterns and what they have coming next. So comment below, what are you more excited for, Marvel 2026 or DC 2026? I'm excited that both of them seem to be finally at a point where they're both competing, making good shit, and I can't wait, honestly. And just to end out today's show, we have a list of all of the movies coming to theaters in 2026, and first off on the top left we have Disney Pixar's Hoppers, and then we have a animated goat movie, which I believe Steph Curry voices the goat, and then we have a DreamWorks film called Forgotten Island, going down to the second row, Animal Friends, another animated movie maybe. Nintendo and Illumination coming out with the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Minions 3. Masters of the Universe film. Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, now just Supergirl. A new The Mummy movie coming from Lee Cronin. Interesting. Clayface. Fokker-in-Law. Are they doing another Meet the Fockers movie called Fokker-in-Law? Interesting. I believe Moana is getting a live action movie. Coyote vs. Acme is finally going to be coming out. Toy Story 5. The Odyssey, probably going to be the biggest film of next year. If not, Spider-Man Brand New Day, which is also both films going to be starring Tom Holland. The Street Fighter movie will be out. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem 2 that we talked about today will be coming out. A movie called Hexed will be coming out from Disney. A Cat in the Hat, new animated Cat in the Hat movie will coming out. Resident Evil, new film will be dropping. Scary Movie 6, finally coming back after years and years of no scary movies. We're going to have a Scary Movie 6 back with Marlon Wayans. Dune Messiah is supposed to be coming out, I believe, around the same time, if not the same day in December as Avengers Doomsday. So that should be a huge Christmas for movies, and maybe competing against each other. Maybe Avengers ruins Dune, maybe Dune ruins Avengers, who knows? I mean, if you're me in the Dune 2 movies, like, I'm going to see Dune Messiah probably before Avengers Doomsday if I had to pick on that day. Fuck. I mean, I'm probably seeing Avengers Doomsday as 2, but I have to see Dune Messiah. Like, I loved Dune Part 2 so much that I have to see what Denis Villeneuve and Timothée Chalamet do with the third film. Practical Magic 2 coming out? Isn't that a remake or a sequel to a film that was made a long time ago? Jumanji 3 is coming. Violent Night, which I think is David Harbour's Santa Claus, is going to be coming back for Violent Night 2. And then in May, Mandalorian and Grogu, another Star Wars movie, will be coming out next year. So the big winners for me next year, The Odyssey, Spider-Man, Avengers Doomsday, Dune 3, Mandalorian and Grogu. Like, there's a bunch more, but those are like a bunch of great movies that I am dying to see for next year. Comment below, what are your most anticipated movies or shows from Marvel to DC or whatever coming next year? What are you excited for? I know me, I'm excited for a whole lot. I'm excited every week to talk about this shit with you guys, and I love doing these weekly nerdy news. Sorry this one ran extra long today. It was a big old chunky week talking about 2026 and where we could be going in the future and New York Comic-Con updates and whatnot. But thank you guys so much for sticking around. I would love to hear your thoughts about everything we talked about today. Is there anything I missed from the weekend? I don't think I really talked about Invincible or anything like that, but like, I'm sure there's more news out there that I missed. Please drop those comments down below. Let me know what I didn't see myself. And if there's anything that you learned about today and you want to chat more about it with me, please comment down in the comment section below, or you can message me on my other social medias, Big Cam, 2 G's in the Big, pretty much anywhere, but links for those down in the description below. You look for my face and you can find me. Once again, thank you guys so much for dropping on by, and if you made it this far into the video and you would like to support the channel, the best way to do that is dropping a like on this video, commenting down in the comment section below, subscribing if you haven't already, and make sure you hit that bell so you don't miss future Comically Boston weekly nerdy news every Monday, and you'll get the notifications when those come out. Once again, my name is Big Cam. Thank you beautiful people for sticking around this far into the video, and I will see you motherfuckers in the next one. Peace!